today I am going to be making this tree. It's a fold it card, and this thing is huge. It will still fit in a regular die cutting machine. You don't need to have a larger machine, but take a look at this. This die is, if you go with the shadow layer, this die is about 7 inches tall, and it's approximately, if you come, this is the longest piece here, it's approximately 5 inches wide. So this is about a 5 by 7, and it is just, it's amazing. So we have the tree, there's a branch here, and then it comes with all these other little pieces that you can decorate the tree. So you don't even need any other dies, because all the dies that you need to decorate this thing are here. Of course, you can incorporate some of your other dies and stamps within it, but this is ready to go right out of the package. So there is an owl, there's an acorn, there's a flower and some leaves, there's an apple, and then look at how cute this is. This is a little, looks like a nest. There's a shadow layer and then the actual nest. Isn't that cute? So that this little owl can sit inside of it. I just think that is just so darling. And then there's also this extra die, which this could be a cloud. It could also be, if you want to do another layering piece for one of the trees, like it looks very similar to this one. So you can do another layering piece if you wanted to, but definitely could be a cloud. So we're gonna go ahead and make a tree fold it card. All right, so to make our fold it card, we have to fold our paper in half. I am using the chocolate brown cardstock from the Stamps of Life. So I'm gonna fold this in half. And this is gonna be the base of the card. So you need this die here, okay? And with this die, you can either have it open from the top or on the side. And just like with all fold-its, you just place wherever you want the fold, you place the fold right to the, if I do it on the side, it's to the right of the actual die. So you wanna have a little bit of space there. Now, because I'm using an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, I cannot do it this way. You will have to use a longer sheet of paper if you want this die to open from the top. So we are by default here going with the side fold. All right, so if I put my fold right here where it says place fold here, I want you to look at this. This is gonna be extending off, and you're not gonna have the paper right here. It's gonna be cut off. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to turn this, and it really doesn't matter where you put your fold, but I am going to put my fold so that it's gonna actually be opened at the, you'll see it's gonna be opening at the top left-hand corner. So I am going to go ahead and adhere this down with some tape. Just making sure that everything else is on the paper. Okay, so here's where my fold is, right here at the top left. All right, so when that comes out of the die cut machine, you can see that my fold was right here, and when it opens at the top left, okay? That way it did not cut off any of this tree here. So the paper pad that I'm gonna use is the Love Life collection, and I found the prettiest paper that will go perfectly. So I'm gonna take this die, and the top part of the tree is gonna be these beautiful flowers. This is more of like autumn colors. And then perfect, this tree bark is gonna be cut out of this paper. So I am gonna go ahead and take that out. And I am going to cut the top of this with that. And I'm gonna have to do this a couple of times because you can see here that some of the bark is going over this part of the tree. So I'm just gonna cut this out, run this through my die cut, and then I'm gonna come back and then I'm gonna do the same thing with the tree bark. All right, so here are my 2 pieces that it cut out. These will go perfectly here. So you have one piece and then the other piece, it fits perfectly in right there. And then I'm going to take this sheet and I am going to put this, making sure that the stripes are going vertically up and down, okay? And just, I need to decide, do I want just solid stripes or do I want to put some of this? And I really like this pattern. So I'm going to try and incorporate some of that onto here. So I am going to put this over this, put the die over the paper, making sure that you are going to end up getting some of the tree on this die cut, which is perfectly fine because you're going to need to get all the way up to the top, and then just adhering that down with some washi tape. Okay. I don't want to waste all this paper. So that is going to run through my die cut machine. So look at how cute that is. So here is the tree bark. Okay. And it cuts it out perfectly. You don't even need to cut any of this down. It automatically cuts it. It's amazing. It fits perfectly. Now, one thing that I want to do is I want this piece to be a little bit raised, but I don't want to just put some foam tape here because I actually want this to look like one whole complete piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the chocolate cardstock, that brown, and I am going to run this portion through my die cut machine again. So I'm going to do that a couple of times. If you layer die cut pieces, it will add dimension to your project without having to use foam. So this is how it's going to look when I run it through the die cut machine. And I'm going to do that probably maybe 3 times. I have to see how much height that's going to give me. All right, so here are my chocolate die cut pieces, and I ran this through, let's see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So those are actually going to be all layered on top of each other. And then this is going to be the final piece that goes on top. So that'll be a total of 6 pieces of cardstock that are going to be layered perfectly on top of each other to add dimension. But before we do that, actually, let's go ahead and glue these together, and then we'll go to the next step that I was going to do. So all of these pieces, we're going to just take some glue and we are going to adhere them together. Okay, so we'll start with the one on the bottom. So anytime you want to add height to your die cuts, just cut them out several times and stack them. You can do this with any die cut. Even if you have a word, a sentiment that is a word, you can do that as well. All right, making sure you're using liquid glue, because if you have to use tape for this part, oh goodness. This way you can move them to where they need to go. All right, so now we're just going to stack these 2. And we're not going to stack this one yet. So we're going to let those dry a little bit. And we're going to ink up the edges. You know how I love to ink up my edges just to add some dimension. So I'm going to use I think I'm going to do the ginger snap. And if it's too light and you don't like it, if you're doing this exact card, you can always go with something darker like the chocolate. But I think that this ginger snap will be perfectly fine because there is white in here and it'll show up a little bit more. And we're just going to ink up the edges of the pattern paper. We're not inking up the edges of the chocolate. Okay, so you can see how that adds some nice texture there. So now we can go ahead and put this thing together. So let's go ahead and start gluing this down. Okay, this piece is going to go directly on top. So it's going on top of this layered piece. And I love the look of the stacked pieces because look, it just looks like a solid piece. It almost looks like chipboard, but it just looks like a solid piece going all the way through. And then this will be just add some glue. Isn't that cute? Oh my gosh. Now look at this when you look at it from the side. See, if I were just to add foam tape here to this, then you would just see a bunch of white. But this looks like a solid piece, and that just looks beautiful. So I'm just gonna let that dry just a few minutes. Next, I went ahead and I die cut the little owl. So I've got this little owl here with the shadow layer, and I did the shadow layer out of the brown chocolate, and I did the actual owl itself out of a pattern paper. This was this pattern paper, and this is from the Hey Friend collection, and those will adhere together. But before I do that, let me just ink up his edges just to give him some texture here. This is the Ginger Snap. The Ginger Snap ink. Okay, and then I also did the nest. I have the shadow layer out of the banana, and I have the top layer out of the lemonade, and those will be adhered together. So I'm gonna go ahead and glue this little guy on here. Gosh, this is so adorable. I just love the intricate detail on these dies. It's amazing. Okay, and then I think we'll go ahead and ink up some of that too. All right, so I'm just gonna use the lemonade. I'm just gonna ink up this first layer, the one with the hole in it. Okay. And then I'm just going to put some glue, just a little tiny bit. Now before I adhere it fully, I want to put this little guy in it, and then I'll press down. And then I'm just going to come in here on the back, add some glue behind him, press that down. I put a little too much, so I need to clean that up. All right, so now I'm going to turn, actually I'm not going to put glue on the back. I think I'm going to just put glue here where I want this to go. Just make sure I have enough. Okay, I lied. I put some on the back. Okay, and then that is going to go right on that tree. And some of this glue that seeped out, we just need to clean that up. Oh my gosh, this is so cute. Look how cute that is. You see how cute? Okay, now one thing I do want to mention, when you add that, make sure that your two pieces on the inside are not sticking together. So it may be helpful. I was lucky because I had immediately opened it and was able to break apart any of that glue. It may be helpful to put your card face down like this and then adhere your cute little owl to the tree. That way you can be sure you don't get any glue on the inside. And I'm just going to wipe up some of this glue. So I went ahead and used the flower die, and I cut out some flowers out of the same color cardstock that matches this pattern. So I've got sea glass, I've got banana, and I've got tangerine, and then the shadow layer is out of the chocolate. So now I'm just going to use the matching inks, and I'm just going to ink up the edges. And I'm just inking up the edges of the flowers. And after I ink up the edges, I'm just going to attach these to their shadow layer. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the back of the flowers, and then they'll be attached to the brown cardstock. All right, so now I've got them all attached, and now I'm just going to add these to my tree. One extra. If I would have spaced this over a little more, I could have put it here, but I think I'll leave that off. I think that looks so adorable. Oh my goodness. Look at this. Look how pretty that is. So next I took the Foxes to Stamp die set, and I'm using this particular die. And what I love about the Stamps of Life dies is that you can just cut them out of pattern paper and they look so cute. You don't even need to color them. So if you don't like to color, use the dies to just cut them out of the pattern paper. And then the stamps, obviously, you'd have to color, but these are just perfect to just write die cut just like that. So I just took a piece of pattern paper. This pattern paper is from the Happiness collection, and it's just yellow with some, you know, diamond shapes on it. And I cut this die, and that's what I got. And then I took the shadow layer and I cut a piece of the chocolate cardstock, and that's just gonna layer on just like this. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take another piece of chocolate, because what I wanna do is I wanna get his nose, and I want to just get some eyes. I know that you can see the eyes through the paper, but I want it all to be level, okay? Because right now there's just a hole where the eyes are. So I'm gonna take the die again, and I'm just gonna cut the top part out. I just need his eyes and his nose, and I am gonna go ahead and die cut that. So these eyes are so tiny, so tiny. And I'm just gonna put a piece of glue. I don't even know if this is gonna stick. Okay, so I just squeezed some out here. Let me move this. I'm just gonna take a little piece of glue with my tool, and I'm just going to grab that, and I just need to, I guess I should adhere this first, shouldn't I? That would help. So let me go ahead and add glue here. All right, now I'm gonna get this little eyeball and just put it right back in there. Okay, and I'm gonna do the same thing with this other eye. So let me just grab some glue and just set that right back in. And then with this piece here, I'm gonna take my scissors and I'm just gonna cut his nose. Cut another one of the fox using the ginger snap, and I just cut his ears off, and I'm just going to adhere his ears. It's just going to give him some accent. I'm just going to adhere his ears right on top. And what I probably should have done is just snipped off the yellow and then just adhered them flat, but that's okay. I'm just going to adhere them on top. It does add some dimension because it's another layer of paper. And then I snipped off the top part of the tail. And I'm going to go ahead and snip off his feet. I took this fence die and I die cut it out of the ginger snap and out of the chocolate. And you'll see what I'm gonna do in just a minute. But first, I'm gonna go ahead and just add some ink, just ink blend this. Again, we're just adding some more dimension to this die cut. And I only need to do the ginger snap because that is what I'm gonna have showing on this card. And you're probably like, what is she doing? Why does she have two? And you'll see. Okay, so there's the ginger snap. Okay, so I die cut this one because I'm gonna layer these together. And the reason I'm doing this is because this fence is gonna go here. So when the card is opened, that way you can see a clean look on the back side. Let me zoom this out just a little bit. You can see a clean look on the back side and the color is the same as the brown, okay? So that's why I did that. So I'm gonna go ahead and adhere these together. And when you adhere, and remember the back sides go together, okay? Back sides together. Okay, and when you do that, you can also see a little bit of that brown through it, which adds another nice look to it. All right, so let's go ahead and press that down. Okay, and that's gonna go here. All right, so the next thing I'm gonna do, I only want this to be about 5 inches. Because remember, my card is about 5 inches wide. So I'm just gonna put this on my ruler and I'm just gonna measure out till it gets to 5 inches. And I'm gonna snip. Just snip that piece off. Okay, and that should be okay. That should be the perfect size. So if you measure from the longest to the, you can even go down a little bit if you wanted to, just to be on the safe side. Maybe I'll just do one more. There, that would be perfect. So next I'm going to glue this down, and I really only want to put glue on these 3 middle ones and then maybe just the lines that extend here. So I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to add my glue. And then put some on those lines there. Okay, let's go ahead and open this up as we press. Just want to make sure none of the glue seeps out. You know, I was just going to keep this simple and just do the tree. And then as I started building and building, I'm like, oh, but it needs this and it needs this. So what do? I add the fence. I add the fox. Yeah, so this tree is perfect by itself, but of course I have to go all out and add more. All right, so we've got a little bit of glue here, so I'm just gonna wipe that up. All right, so before we add this cute little fox, I'm taking a piece of the sea glass. This is the same color as here, so I'm staying with those same colors. And I am going to add some double-sided this cardstock. And I am going to be using Smile And this comes from the Inspirational Word die set that was on HSN. Now, at the time of my taping right now, this is still available. So when this YouTube video is released in a few months, because I think that's when this product will be released, I don't know if it'll be available then. And then the shadow layer is going to be cut out of the chocolate. So I don't have the double-sided adhesive on the back of this, just on this one, because it's such an intricate die. All right, so we're going to go ahead and add we're adding the word to the shadow layer. Isn't that pretty? Those colors look so pretty together. Okay, so now we are ready to add this here. A little bit of white on there. All right, but that's gonna cover it up. Look how cute that is. So we're gonna add these two here. Oh my gosh, this is just so stinking cute. All right, so I don't wanna get any glue on the opposite side here. So we're gonna have to be strategic in applying this glue. I think I might go with a different glue just because the other glue, sometimes it's not as clear. All right, so I know that I need to add it 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4 of these, about halfway down. 2, 3, 4. And then this one, just a little bit on the bottom. And then I think I'll just put some on the squiggly line here. And then this guy is gonna go right here. Actually, I don't want him to extend past this. I think if he extends a little bit, it's okay. So I know I need to put glue starting with this one, at least all the way through here. I'm sorry you couldn't see me putting the glue at the bottom. So when you're adding your glue, just kind of just measure and see where you need to add it, because the back side you'll be able to see. And you can see that some of the glue is white when I use this glue and some of the glue is clear. So it's really just your preference. I find that this glue is much stronger. This one's strong too, but this one you can actually move around before it adheres. So it's really your preference. This one, it actually adheres pretty quickly. Okay, so what I need to do next is I need to open this up and I need to add some cardstock here so that you know, someone can write a message in here, because right now it's too dark. So I need to take my die, it's this die, and cut it out, the entire die, out of Ginger Snap. All right, and I am just going to add this to the inside. Which technically you can leave it like this, because you can just write your message here. But if you want to add the entire thing, you can do that too. I already cut it out, added a little bit of glue, so I'm just going to continue with it. The last thing I want to do is just add these last couple flowers that I have. So I'm just gonna put some glue and then just add the flower. Oh my gosh, this is so cute. How adorable is this? This die is amazing. So this is what I created with this die set, and I think it just turned out so cute. So when you open it up, you can write your message. I'm not putting a sentiment in there, but gosh, that's so cute. So you can see the dimension and all these colors. I think this paper really just is perfect for this. Theme, and this is not going to be a folded card, so I went ahead and die cut the largest die, this die, out of the Ginger Snap. So this is just a flat piece of cardstock. I also then took the layering piece and I cut the tree bark out of the Ginger Snap, and I cut the tree out of the snowflake paper, and the paper pad that I used for that is the Woohoo collection. And my goal here is to make this look like it's a tree with some snowflakes on it. So I think that will turn out super cute. So I'm gonna go ahead and just use my Ginger Snap ink, and I wanna ink up the edges of this tree. Go ahead and use the same Ginger Snap just to ink up these edges as well. Before I add the snowflake layer, I want to go ahead and stack these. So I cut 4 out of the Ginger Snap, and I'm just going to stack these just like I did in the previous card, because I really love how it adds the dimension. Okay, one other thing I want to mention to you is this die that's in the set, this particular die. I mentioned earlier that you can use it as a cloud, but I want to point out you can also use it as another, if you die cut another one of these, and you can add it here as another tree, you know, the bushes, the bush part. So, okay, so there's that. So I have a piece of, this is actually a 5x7 card base that I purchased at the store. So it just came in a stack of 5x7 card bases. So I'm going to be using this as my card base. I did cut down a piece of sky paper. This is measured at 4 7/8 by 6 7/8. And then I cut out a piece of the snowflake paper with the blue background, and on the 6-inch side I cut this down to 4 3/4. So measuring along this way, it's 4 3/4. And what happens when I go to layer these on, it's not going to quite reach the bottom, but that's okay because we're going to add some stuff to the bottom of this. All right, so next I took this border die. It's a hillside border, and I cut it out of the powdered sugar, and I did it twice, and I am going to make a snowy background here. So next I'm just going to take these hillside snowy backdrops, and I'm going to just put some of my glue on the edge of this. I'm just using a clear glue, and I'm going to sprinkle some glitter just right over top of the glue. and just add some of that glitter. Just want to add some to the edge here. Start adhering this down, and I'm just going to mark where I want this to go. I'm going to flip this over and just press this down. I'm not sure if all that glitter is dried, or otherwise I would put this on the table. Okay, and then I'm going to take this one. Actually, I'm going to take the tree. And I am going to go ahead and adhere this tree. I'm going to add glue to the back. Now, I am going to make a swing. So right now, I'm not going to adhere this part. I am just going to adhere the rest of the tree. And leave this part up, because you'll see what I'm going to do here in a minute. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and add the glue here. So now I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to trim off all of this excess. So I die cut a bench for the swing. This is a scalloped rectangle. It's the smallest one that comes in the pack from the Stamps of Life. I'm just gonna put some ink on the edges. Okay, and I also, that's the Ginger Snap ink. I also die cut this cute little penguin. This is from the same paper pad, so it's the penguin, one of the die cut penguins, and I just cut them out with the corresponding shadow die. That's from the Woohoo paper pad, same paper pad as this. So I'm going to go ahead, and I also die cut this scarf. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere the scarf. Okay, and as far as the swing, I'm going to use some of this twine to adhere this swing down. I was initially going to wrap this around this tree bark, but I think I'm going to do something a little bit different. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere the rest of this down just to make sure that it is down. So I initially wasn't going to do this until afterwards, but I'm going to go ahead and do it now anyway, because my plans have changed. All right, so the whole thing is adhered down. Now I'm going to put the swing here, and put this down. I wish there was a little bit more room here, but we're working with what we have. So we want to make sure that we can see this guy on the swing. So we're going to put him on here and just add some glue to the back. Sorry if you hear a bunch of yelling. Those are my kids. They're arguing with each other, teenagers. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and use this twine, and I'm going to tie a knot at the bottom. Okay, and then this twine is going to go from the bottom of the brown. I don't want this knot to sit on the penguin's foot because we want to make this look as real as possible. So it's going to go from the bottom there all the way up to the tree. So I'm just gonna cut some of this off so I have some room to work. And I'm gonna cut another one that's roughly about the same length. Okay. All right. So we're gonna take a glue dot. All right, so I'm gonna take a glue dot and I'm just going to put it on where the knot is on this twine. And I'm going to adhere it directly to the brown part of the paper. Okay, and then I'm gonna do the same thing with the other side. So I'm gonna tie a knot, and then I'm gonna take a glue dot, and I'm gonna put the glue dot on that knot, and I'm going to put that also on the brown. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put some glue on the back of this. I'll do the top part in just a minute, but I want to make sure that this is already adhered. So I'm going to adhere all the way up through this brown part, and then I'm gonna put some foam on the top part, because with all of these layers, that's not going to be able to be flat against the card. So we'll have to add some foam for the dimension. Okay, and now I'm ready to bring these up. So I want to add a knot, another knot up here towards the top, so about right here. All right, so then I'm going to snip the tops of these. And then I'm going to take another glue dot and put it on the back. Same thing with the other one. And then just trim a little bit just to make them look like they're somewhat even. And then some of this twine, it just has some extra fuzzies. Cut that. Cut that. Next I took the Woohoo die and I die cut it out of the guava cardstock. And I'm not doing the shadow layer, I'm just doing the individual letters because I don't want to take away from the pattern that is on the tree. Alright, so now we're going to adhere this card base to our 5x7 cards. Remember, this blue is the sky and it was cut to 4 7/8 by 6 7/8, and the 5x7 card base is just a blank card base that I had picked up. few of these white snowflakes left over from when I used this background die set of the snowflake in the past. I just saved these pieces. So I'm gonna go ahead and use these on this card. I'm just gonna put a couple on here. All right, so here's my card. I think it turned out super cute. I think it messed up just a little bit here because I think that when I put the glue down, it dried too quickly and I have less blue border on this side as I do on this side. But nonetheless, I think it turned out really, really cute. I love the little swing and the woohoo. Looks like he's having a good time. So this is just a simple winter card. It's just a winter themed card and I hope you like it. So if you have any questions, comments, please leave them down below and have a great day. Bye everyone.